give you stars.
It's one of the most iconic lines from the entire Resident Evil series, except in Japanese, it's completely different. So to find what else is different between Resident Evil 3 in English and Biohazard 3 in Japanese, I translated the whole game.
Are you crazy?
Turns out there's so much, we'll go through it all from beginning to end. That means cutscenes, files, and even flavor text. Now let's see what we'll find in translation. This is Biohazard 3 retranslated.
Biohazard 3.
It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella.
The subtitles read, "It was an ordinary September, if only people had the courage to stand up and face them." There's no reference to Umbrella controlling Raccoon City. That line is in the Biohazard 3 booklet as, "Raccoon City belongs to Umbrella." And whether it began as an ordinary day or was an ordinary September, we all know we shouldn't trust their idea of ordinary. On a related note, the RE3 game case says Jill resigns from STARS and attempts to escape the city days after the mansion incident, which happened in late July. The Bio 3 case doesn't give a timeline of days. Rather, after that horrifying mansion incident, STARS Special Forces member Jill Valentine remained in Raccoon City to covertly investigate Umbrella's movements, giving a little more insight into what Jill was doing, but no mention of her resignation. For the GameCube release, it looks like it was corrected to a month and a half.
It's true that once the wheels of justice begin to turn, nothing can stop them. Nothing.
Instead of wheels of justice, once fate begins to flow, it can't be stopped by anyone, or more naturally, once fate is set in motion. Usually when people say the wheels of justice, they're referring to the slow yet inevitable legal process, but that's a different Capcom property. Looking into its etymology, it originally referred to the inescapable punishment of the gods, and like Nemesis being named after the goddess of retribution, it reminds us what Jill is up against is beyond the realm of mere mortals.
It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape.
You'll notice the English version ends with "The Last Escape," the subtitle of Biohazard 3, but it's not in Jill's Japanese dialogue, which is completely different.
What is it?
It reads, "The final September is coming to an end. The only one who sees that is me." We can find a deeper context of late September in the Biohazard 3 booklet. The prologue has a few lines cut from the English one, lines that might not resonate outside of Japan. It reads, "Early fall. The green, fragrant breeze coming from the forest changes to a cool, yellow, earthy scented wind. The changing of seasons is repeated countless times in nature. September has come to Raccoon City, a small industrial town in the American Midwest." Which is where the English version begins, but it misses the poetic setup. Now, there is a lot here to read into. In Japanese literature, the autumn wind is the sudden reminder of life's fleeting nature. The transition from summer to fall can signal incoming change or turmoil. It's felt as a lonely time, mirroring Jill's isolation and the struggles she'll face. The scent of earth is the smell of withered fields and decay. And, like the changing of seasons, it can't be stopped, setting the tone for the end of Raccoon City. The full context of late September is beyond the scope of this video, and I don't want to get too derailed here. Jill Valentine is back, and according to the guidebook, her new design was targeting a beauty that captivates anyone. By the way, even if you take damage here, your health will be reset after going through the door, where we'll find the next translation difference. Let's jump ahead.
September 28th, daylight. The monsters have overtaken the city. Somehow, I'm still alive.
In the warehouse, you'll meet fellow survivor Dario Rosso, and the subtitles are basically the same, but here Jill lacks the urgency she has in English, saying,
Okay, we've got to get out of here.
What? What do you think you're talking about?
According to the guidebook, the voice actor's passionate delivery made Dario a favorite among some of the development staff, and they'd often imitate him saying,
What?
Jill uses a similar phrase to Regina in Dino Crisis.
I'm sorry about your daughter.
But in contrast to Jill, the way Regina said it is really sarcastic.
That's disgusting.
Get the key and leave the warehouse. Welcome to Uptown. Moving down the alley, you'll find a small room that was filled with zombies. You can pick up the shotgun and lighter fluid here. Examine the body and it reads, "He's lucky he died before his guts were ripped out." But in Japanese, he wasn't so fortunate, and it appears his guts were ripped out and then he died.
That's disgusting.
But now, you've got a shotgun, and with your new friend tucked away under your tube top, I guess, head down the street past some developer name Easter eggs. I talked about them in my other video, but I'll highlight a few names here if you missed it. After finding your way to the bar, it's a reunion with Brad and some dialogue unique to Japanese.
Brad, hang in there. Why isn't someone doing something about this?
I didn't know you were still alive, Jill. The police aren't trained for this kind of situation. What could they do? Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
Instead of die, he says, "You and I are gonna be killed," and doesn't mention anyone coming for them. If you try to leave when Brad is attacked, the scene will be different. The dialogue is changed, and so is Brad's delivery.
Brad, why isn't someone doing something about this?
No one's trained to handle this kind of situation. What could anyone do? Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
What are you saying?
You'll see. He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
Completely changed to stars. I wish I'd never joined. Between this and the EX file where Brad said he would have quit STARS long ago, the recruiting poster in the RE2 remake feels all the more ironic. After grabbing the lighter from the bar, burn the rope holding the gate. But before we go, examine the body nearby. The verb used in Japanese is like a biting tear, giving the impression he was ripped to pieces by a wild animal. Carrying on, do your best to avoid the hot dog. Finally at the RPD, you'll meet up with Brad and our first encounter with Nemesis. There are no subtitles here, so in we go. Our first stop is to the office and go check on Marvin. Examine the body and he's been fatally wounded by zombies. But in Japanese, it reads, "He's been attacked by zombies. There's nothing you can do." Read Marvin's report for a few differences. Raccoon City is under martial law on September 24th, and many officers have already died in the line of duty. In English, martial law isn't mentioned until September 26th, and Marvin doesn't talk about any police dying, only a lack of available officers, painting the situation in the Japanese version to be much darker. Speaking of, head to the dark room after getting the gem and STARS key. Here we can pick up David's memo, and it's quite different. We can learn that one of the better marksmen, Meyer, was from the Homicide Division, a detail not included in English. In Japanese, David recounts leaving Meyer behind, but it's more like a retelling of events. In English, he sounds haunted. To help me narrate is my good friend Danny from the Famicast. David writes,
I can still hear him calling out my name. I can still hear the screams coming from behind. The sound of his flesh being stripped from its bones.
The Japanese version doesn't have the line about the sound of flesh being stripped from its bones. Well, not in Biohazard 3. David's memo can also be found in Biohazard 2 on N64 as an EX file. The line is included here, but the sound is compared to shrimp meat being ripped from its shell. Perhaps a sound they thought would resonate better with a Japanese audience. You know, like Brock and his favorite jelly donuts. September 27th begins with The fight to stay alive continues, but that was added in English. Instead of taking out several zombies that broke through the barrier, he says Tyrell, meaning a large quantity of zombies, or could be a bunch. Several to me is only about 3. Either way, it sounds like there were more in Japanese.
Now I'm cutting through the chill with whiskey, unloading my Mossberg on anything undead. That shotgun's become a close friend of mine. I blasted many a zombie into fertilizer with it.
Compared to
lift my spirits, I blast these idiots with my shotgun while drinking whiskey. With this, I can make a few of these things into mincemeat at once.
There's no line about the shotgun being a friend. However, what follows is a short paragraph that's only in Japanese.
I cheered with glee, firing away at those things. Just then, I was grabbed by my friend. Looking closer, a few officers were on the floor caught up in the scuffle with the zombies. At this point, it's fine, isn't it? It's a party before we die anyway.
In Japanese, David adds he put 3 of his comrades to rest, and they lost 13 men, and how that's a big drop in their head count. There's no reference to his Mossberg being a friend, and when he runs out of alcohol, he plans to end things peacefully. He can't wait. And thank you so much to Danny for helping out. If you want to hear about Nintendo in Japan, please check out the Famicast, which I'll link to below. Head to the STARS office to get the lockpick. Check in on your teammates, and you'll notice Barry's desk has a pair of replica guns. But in Japanese, it's full of model guns. Barry's fishing buddy Robert has more to say in the facts from Kendo Gun Shop. It's basically the same, but Bio 3 adds, "These parts are so good, you wouldn't believe they're government issue. You'll want to kiss the company that invested in them."
Ooh.
Before you go, you'll overhear a radio message. In English, he says they're cut off, but in Japanese, they're surrounded, which seems a little more dire to me. After Nemesis crashes the party, it's time to leave the RPD. With lockpick in hand, you can go towards downtown. In the alleyway, read the mercenary's diary. Instead of no reason given for the execution, in Japanese, it was a baseless accusation that got him on death row. On September 28th, instead of slogging through this nightmare, it reads, "However, it doesn't change the fact we're still in hell. I'm going mad. The laws of nature don't exist in this city."
Hello?
Continue past more developer Easter eggs. In the parking area, grab the cord for the cable car and take a walk with the dogs. When you reach downtown, you can choose between the restaurant or the newspaper office, changing how the game will play out. If you decide to meet Carlos at the office first.
Hey,
Where am I?
relax. You're fine.
If you say so, but my head feels like it's about to explode.
And in Japanese, "I see, so I guess this headache isn't a hangover."
Come on!
Jump out of the window and Carlos will say,
Ow, that killed!
or "Ow, my
Just so
butt."
you know, I'm not into that pain is pleasure thing, okay?
But in Japanese, brings me back to my childhood days getting whipped until swollen, giving a glimpse into his backstory. In fact, the guidebook states he had a rather dark past and demanded a fresh new start in life in return for joining the UBCS, hinting that his name, nationality, and even face may have been altered. But let's move on from here. There's no trespassing.
Wait. I have to ask you something.
I know. You want to ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
How about we talk about it on our date?
Do you really think the master would tell his dogs why they have to retrieve the stick he just threw?
And instead of a stick, it's a frisbee. Meet Carlos at the restaurant first, and it plays out in a few ways. But before that, pick up the city guide. Instead of the tracks of our city, it reads, "Our City and Mayor's Journey" in Japanese, showing a bit of the mayor's narcissism, but unfortunately losing the cable car pun. We do get a bit of comedic irony though, when he says Umbrella is known as a kurina kigyo, using the English word clean, but I don't think they mean it in the hygienic way, more like an ethical corporation or above board. When you meet Carlos at the restaurant and choose to hide, the English basically matches the Japanese, but you may have noticed by now Carlos says kuso a lot. It's often translated as shit, but it's left out in English. In fact, it's the first thing he said when you heard him over the radio. I'm guessing it was left out to avoid getting a higher age rating, just like Dino Crisis, according to that guidebook. But in general, Carlos curses quite a bit in Japanese. There is some variation of dialogue depending on where you escape Nemesis from. Leave out of the basement for Jill's unique reaction.
You want to ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
What? Keep dreaming.
This is only in English, and in the subtitles, she just wants to know why Umbrella sent his team. This is how Jill responded to the same line at the press office.
I have to know. Why did Umbrella send you here?
Go out of the front or back door, and Carlos won't say the foxy lady's line. And only in English will Jill call Umbrella liars.
Considering Umbrella caused all this in the first place, those liars!
There is actually 2 more versions of this line in English, but the Japanese subtitles are all the same.
Umbrella is the reason why this whole mess began. They're the ones who caused all this in the first place.
And
Listen, if you want answers about Umbrella, you're asking the wrong guy.
says, no matter how much you criticize us for our employer, you're not getting anything from me. And coming only from the basement in English will Carlos say,
If you want answers, you should talk to someone else. I am not with Umbrella.
if you haven't been to the newspaper office yet, head inside and pick up the reporter's memo. In Japanese, it's called reporter's planner, or maybe notebook, which I think matches the picture better. Instead of 8 people to death, it's bite to death, and he was described like a starving dog. One line only in Japanese says, a chewed up arm was left in the fridge and it looked like a half-eaten ham. The reporter lost contact with media outside of the city, but in Japanese, all news media is under strict regulation, showing the near-complete control Umbrella had. And the Japanese doesn't say the city holds the key to the virus's creation and cure, only that the cause is something nearby, and ends by stating the disease is spread by something more direct, like contact. By now you've hopefully collected both gems and you can open the gate to City Hall. We'll continue along to the cable car to meet the other UBCS survivors, Nicholai and Mikhail. No relation, even though the two were originally conceived as brothers, with Mikhail being the good older brother and Nicholai as the evil younger one.
No, we can't trust her.
In my previous video, I mentioned this was changed from "that woman is danger," foreshadowing in Japanese how Nicholai could be killed. Nicholai eventually agrees to Jill's help and they go over his plan. Speaking of plan, in early development, Nicholai was first called the Mastermind, maybe hinting at having played a larger role.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
In Japanese, he is a little sarcastic and says, that's not a route we can just casually stroll down. Nicholai's plan is to use the cable car as a moving shield, but here he calls it a mobile pillbox, which brings a different picture to my mind of them gunning down zombies as they move through the streets.
That works for me. Good plan, sir.
Okay, people, let's get moving.
With the crank and the wrench, we can now enter the gas station. If you chose the hide options at the restaurant or press office, you'll meet Carlos
Jill.
at the gas station.
Hey, the zombies are getting restless.
I know. I can hear them. What's going on?
They're coming. They must have sniffed us out. They know we're here.
Hey, calm down.
Any objections to my playing hero this time?
Which reads very unhero-like with, let me be cool for just a bit. And props to the localization team for keeping the original's intention, but making it sound so good in English. From here, you can trigger 2 different scenes. Immediately go check on Carlos, and you'll see this.
Carlos! No!
Relax, I'm not dead yet.
This is a tough one. He's really sarcastic here, being grateful that Jill killed him by thinking he's dead. It could be translated as anything from, I knew I could count on you to get me killed, to, you gonna put flowers on my grave too?
Are you okay?
I'm fine. That hero stuff is harder than it looks.
changed from, I'm just a little tired. If you get the machine oil before checking on him, you'll get the scene where they leave together.
Ouch, my ears are ringing. We both should be deaf by now.
But here he asks Jill to tear off his ears and throw them away, a phrase I've never heard before. If you haven't torn off your own ears yet and are enjoying this video, I really need your help by giving a like, subscribe, and let me know if you'd want to see another game retranslated. If you meet Nicholai here, there is barely anything spoken. Time to collect the rest of the items for the cable car, or you can revisit Mikhail for one of two scenes, depending on if you destroyed the barrel or not.
Don't come any closer!
Mikhail, do you have some kind of death wish?
The dialogue is mostly the same, but Jill doesn't address him by name, rather by rank. And that makes sense for Jill, given her military training with the Army Delta Force.
There's no reason for any of us to take responsibility for this mess.
Literally, he says no reason to have his belly cut, but it's an idiom meaning no reason to force them to take responsibility. It kind of makes me think of an old samurai or warrior.
Sorry. I feel so useless.
Don't. You fought hard and have the wounds to prove it.
But I'm still alive. My men aren't.
Showing his feelings of guilt by saying he let many of his men die. If you met Carlos at the gas station, you'll meet Nicholai at the sales office.
What did you do?
And the rest is basically the same. If you meet Carlos here, the subtitles reveal a little more than English.
Don't make me do this, Murphy. I don't want to shoot you. Kill me.
I finished. Not human.
The subtitles change between katakana and hiragana to further highlight the unnatural speech, where he says he's becoming something else.
Wait, we don't have to do this.
Here we learn Carlos has a close friendship with Murphy by saying, I can't kill my best friend, using the term shinyu, often described as best friend or close friend.
Murphy.
From the guidebook, Murphy was intended to portray the tragedy of having to shoot someone halfway between human and zombie. Many people in Raccoon City hesitated after seeing their loved ones or neighbors become monsters, which is one of the reasons how the virus was able to spread and why Carlos reacted the way he did. Here, you can read the business facts with a translation mistake that has caused some confusion over the years by calling the Nemesis parasite the NET-type virus. In Japanese, it's called the experimental test subject NET type, and it's not a virus, but a parasite. After getting the password from the TV commercial, enter it in the computer. On the desktop background, you can see Japanese words written with the alphabet. This one reads toka nantoka yuttari shite. It's like yada yada saying something. It sounds like it could be Kansai-ben, the dialect of Japanese spoken in Osaka, where the Capcom headquarters are, and what Tofu speaks. Unfortunately, the other text is too blurry for me. Let me know if you can read it. Grab the oil additive and then head to the substation. I didn't find anything noteworthy here, so I'll point out Taco-san again, meaning like Mr. Octopus. It can also be seen for a brief moment in RE2, with some developer names. I've mentioned it before, but this one's worth repeating. Now that all the parts for the cable car have been collected, make one last trip to check on Dario. Dario's memo is called The Last Words Left in the Container in Japanese, and The Last Words of the Great Novelist in the EX files. It starts with something like, God damn it, which again was probably left out of English to keep the age rating low. In English, they added the bit about writing to keep his sanity. In Japanese, he pleads for help, asking if it's too late. He doesn't want to die, he still wants to live. Regarding becoming a novelist, his mother tells him, "You have a long way to go," a dig at his writing ability. But what she said in Japanese was, "You have a long life ahead of you. It doesn't come off as harsh to me." Next, in Japanese, he curses at his mother, finally to lament the fact that he won't be admired as the great novelist Dario Rosso. Dario was intended to represent the weakness of humanity and originally played a more active role before his death. And now that you've collected all the parts, it's time to fix the cable car. Watch out for the hole. And the other hole. Back at the cable car, if Carlos shot Murphy, Jill will say,
Carlos, I'm sorry about Murphy, but there was nothing you could have done.
but in Japanese, she'll say, "There's nothing you could have done about your friend." The cable car departs, and it's not long before a visit from Nemesis. Mikhail will sacrifice himself to save the team. From the guidebook, Mikhail's death was changed many times. He was created on the premise of a heroic death, to embody the UBCS mercenaries being sent as sacrificial pawns. At the live selection in the cable car, if you use the emergency brake, you'll later meet Carlos in the dining room.
Carlos, I don't believe it. You're alive.
I'm not sure how we're gonna get out of this town.
He's more pessimistic in Japanese, saying, "Getting out of this town alive is impossible."
You don't get it. They have no intention of letting us make it back alive. Do you really think we can trust their great evacuation plan? Huh, it's just a piece of paper.
But we don't have any other choice than to trust them right now.
No, if we're gonna die, then we should get to choose when it happens.
We're zombie food anyways. If that's the case, I'm gonna choose when I die.
So that's it then, huh? You're giving up?
No, I can't handle it.
There's nothing I can do about it, giving off a sense of hopelessness. If you jumped out of the cable car, you'll meet Carlos in the library.
No!
Carlos!
Phew. Well, we both managed to survive. Maybe we can start helping each other again.
But like any good horror movie, he suggests helping each other by splitting up to get things done.
We're the only ones left.
In the main hall of the clock tower, grab the mine thrower and operation instructions. A notable difference in Bio 3 is a reward for rescuing employees of Umbrella's affiliates, not mentioned in English. The third procedure also says the sound of the bell in the clock tower is the signal to all units operating in the city that the main operation is over or it has failed and is cancelled. Examine the body, and he might have died fighting. In Japanese, it's the body of an Umbrella mercenary. It appears he gave everything he had fighting. Making your way through the clock tower, you'll eventually get the key and use it here with impeccable timing. Next, you can pick up the mercenary's pocketbook. In Bio 3, the mercenary calls Campbell his Aibo, meaning partner or buddy. He adds, the situation is totally unimaginable. He says the number of zombies is in a completely different league from when they had their briefing, and the city is long dead. In English, he's unsure if the antibodies will work. But in Japanese, he writes the environmental pollution is so bad, there's a risk of being infected. September 27th gives us some tragic insight into UBCS members that's not in English. To read it in character is Fergaderg.
Out of desperation, we robbed some wounded members of their weapons and used the surviving citizens as decoys. We were taught to do this in order to survive the battlefield, but I never enjoyed it.
Only in Japanese, he adds,
This is how we survived on the battlefield since we were kids.
Thanks to Fergaderg. If you like the old guidebooks like I do, please check it out in the links. Next, you can go to the room at the back, and you'll find the bell blocking the door. Try to push it as Jill, and it won't budge. Examine it, and in English, it'll read, a spare bell for the clock tower. It would take incredible strength to move it. But in Japanese, it reads, it's unlikely it could be moved by a woman's strength. examine it again, and it'll give a different description, almost as if trying to change the subject. Skipping ahead, after the gear is fully assembled, the bell tolls in the tower. Jill sees the helicopter and says,
We're saved.
and almost as quickly, it goes down in flames. Jill has a run-in with Nemesis and is left infected by a strong T-virus strain from his tentacle. Despite this, she manages to fend off the pursuer until finally collapsing. Now, it's up to Carlos to be cool for a bit.
October 1st, night. I woke up to the sound of falling rain. I can't believe I'm still alive.
The chapel scene dialogue only had a few changes.
I'm okay. Don't feel any pain. But that's what bothers me. If I can't feel anything, then what does that mean?
Don't give up, Jill. I'll take care of you. Whatever you do, don't let that virus beat you.
Return to the clock tower and examine the mercenary as Carlos. This time it reads, the corpse appears to be crying out with bitter resentment, or maybe regret. Now, using the incredible power of Carlos, move that pesky bell. It's onto the hospital. The doctor who had his neck devoured from the inside out merely had it gouged out or hollowed out in Japanese. Pick up the director's diary nearby. Instead of becoming, flesh hunger monsters that act like wild animals on some type of bloodlust, they're compared to violent drug addicts that crave and hunt down raw meat like a starving tiger. The director doesn't call them zombies, but rather terrifying monsters, and later that they lost most of the staff and doctors during the battle against the infected patients. Only in Japanese, the director laments, "It's too late, I didn't have enough strength. I understand the cause is a never-before-seen virus. Our handling was delayed." And then the words get increasingly worse as the director is succumbing to the virus, struggling to continue writing coherently. With the tape recorder, you can take the elevator to the 4th floor or B3, which will determine where you meet Tyrell. If you meet him in the basement,
I had no idea another guinea pig was still alive.
What are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
literally he says, "Hey, you're not very calm," or maybe peaceful, in a bit of a mocking way. You could get really creative with this line, and since it's from the 90s, I'm glad it wasn't, "Whoa, could you be any more peaceful?"
Sometimes it's easy to forget one's loyalties. Just like that traitor.
You mean the guy who shot you?
Yeah, you know him. The one with the gray hair and the ugly mug. I can't believe he had the guts to shoot me. That traitor!
You mean...
Revealing more about himself and his position, saying, "He shot me, a fellow supervisor." Go to the 4th floor first, and you'll catch Nicholai red-handed.
Nicholai? You're still alive?
You saw what happened?
What's going on?
Instead of asking, "What's going on?" he asks, like, "Who are you?" To which Nicholai says, he is a supervisor in both languages. Continue through the hospital to prepare the vaccine. Pick up the medical instruction manual to learn how to make it. You might have read online that the name Douglas Rover should actually be Douglas Lauper. It is a little blurry, but in the Biohazard 3 archive, it's clearly a B sound and not a P, making Rover the appropriate choice. With vaccine in hand, go save Jill. If you defeat Nemesis before talking to Jill,
We barely made it. How do you feel?
I'm okay. What happened to you?
I just fought with that monster. I've got some bad news. Nicholai's still alive.
But I thought he was dead.
That guy doesn't know the meaning of the word dead.
What is he after?
I don't know. All I know is that he is our enemy.
Carlos does in fact know more in the subtitles, saying he's some damn spy called a supervisor. He's an enemy to those of us being watched. If you run by Nemesis without defeating him, this time Jill will ask, "What's going on?" in Japanese and English.
Barely. What's going on?
No way! That monster just doesn't give up!
What? I thought we killed that thing!
No, it's been waiting for you!
He's playing with us. Carlos, do you think that it's unstoppable?
No, I don't think so.
Adding in Japanese, but he is one incredibly tough guy.
And bad news. Nicholai is still alive.
Nicholai? Are you sure?
Yes. I don't know how, but I do know that he is our enemy.
This time in Japanese and English, Carlos doesn't know the details about why they shouldn't trust Nicholai. With the bell moved, the master of lockpicking can get the key to the park, and we can open the gate. Head down the stairs to get the next key and the written orders to supervisors. The second order in Japanese is to completely destroy facilities that can be used as evidence, particularly medical centers that collected treatment data, probably why the police station and hospital are marked on the map in the operations room. The third order in English is to check the guinea pig's ability to accomplish the mission, which I assumed was to monitor Nemesis. In Bio 3, it's to confirm the operational capabilities of each test subject, keyword there being each, meaning more than just one. And it's not the mission, but the general operational capabilities of each test subject. Head toward the cemetery, paying your respects to Director Aoyama as you make for the cabin. You'll get to the operations room through the fireplace in the cabin. Once inside, you can read the supervisor's report. They aren't called guinea pigs in Japanese, instead called the infected. I think the only time guinea pig is used in Japanese is when Tyrell confronts Carlos. About the mutated plants and animals making good samples, there's an added line about not being able to bring back something like that. In English, the supervisor encountered a giant creature moving underground and doesn't want to imagine what spawned it, implying it was born. Compare that to Biohazard 3, which says they don't want to think about what it was that became so huge, referring to an existing creature mutating. It's of course a gravedigger, and from the guidebooks, a gravedigger can lay about 100 eggs, which will hatch in just 2 hours. The juvenile sliding worms will become fully formed gravediggers in 1 week, so it looks like either is possible. Back where we left off at the shack, head through the hole for a reunion with Nicholai.
I'm quite impressed you've managed to stay alive up until now.
In Japanese, he's not so impressed, saying, "So you're still alive, huh?"
You're saying that they deliberately sent in a military unit to be butchered by their creations?
Not exactly. Although the conditions encountered on this operation were extreme, it was an unexpected outcome that the team would be wiped out. We were only required to collect live data from the subjects.
Ah!
Another mutant!
Reads, "Goddamn monster," and Nicholai will retreat as a gravedigger tries to worm itself into the conversation. Having none of that, Jill defeats the gravedigger, and you can make your way back through the park. When you arrive at the bridge, you'll have 2 choices leading to different endings.
Stars.
If you choose to push Nemesis, you'll enter the dead factory, eventually meeting Carlos at the office. The subtitles are basically the same, but you can get a good look at a developer named Easter Egg in this camera angle.
Are you sure about that?
Positive.
In the office, you can read the manager's diary. Unlike English, he doesn't seem happy about the timing of his first day. In Bio 3, he writes, "To have the first day of my new assignment on a day like this? It's strict, not like my university laboratory." The incident on May 20th had the manager trapped in the treatment room for an hour, the Japanese adding, "There was a terrible smell," and "He's at his wit's end." June 7th, the manager expresses his frustrations with the laboratory side by adding in Japanese, "Damn it, that bloody Dr. Frankenstein," likely referring to Dr. Birkin. Back to the live selection, if you had jumped off the bridge, you'll meet Carlos in the tunnels.
Rescuing you is becoming a full-time job.
Thanks, Carlos. I owe you.
Literally, she says somehow, but it's open to interpretation and context. Maybe like, I got it figured out, or I'm getting by. It's the same way she replied to Carlos back at the chapel.
I know.
Time to take on the Dead Factory, and before you breeze right through the water puzzle in mere seconds on your first try, pick up the security manual. The Japanese version clarifies what are the extreme consequences for those who leave the facility without permission, and that's being shot dead regardless of the reason. But I kind of prefer the ambiguity of English. If you had pushed Nemesis off the bridge, you'll then trigger the ending where Nicholai is killed by him.
Nicholai? So, you want to get out of here alone? Is that your plan?
I made certain none of the other supervisors survived. Since I'll be the only one who knows what really happened, I'll have more bargaining power when it comes to discussing my bonus.
Then why kill me? I'm not on their payroll.
They want you eliminated for reasons of their own.
It turns out the reason is because they hate Jill.
The amount is modest, but there is a reward to be claimed upon the confirmation of your death.
He says a modest amount, but to me it digs a little deeper in Japanese, saying Jill's death is only worth a cheap price, or small amount. We're almost at the end. Jill will battle the Nemesis in the treatment room, or processing room as it's known in Japanese, where she quickly gets a handle on the situation. And ultimately, Nemesis is unable to go head-to-head with Jill. With Nemesis seemingly defeated, it's time to escape. If you encounter Nicholai here and choose to negotiate, the conversation is pretty much the same as when Nemesis killed him. You can negotiate or shoot down Nicholai. After, Carlos will show up and he's much more positive than he was at the clock tower, where he'd basically given up.
This isn't over yet. I'm not giving up, Jill. We still have a chance. I am not going to give up!
If you're wondering, where is Barry, listen to the radio message.
This is over. I've come to retrieve Jill. I can see there's no time left to bring her. This is the stars. Please come in, Jill. Here, are you there to come?
And with all the subtlety of Barry, he asked, "Have you died?"
Who could it be?
It doesn't matter.
And Carlos said, "Anyone is fine." Really? Anyone?
Yahoo!
Before the final battle, pick up the classified photo. In English, it says the weapon will be a great help to us. But in Japanese, it says it's necessary as a trump card to acquire the G-Virus. It also adds, "For the glory of the United States, bring down the magnetic hammer on those who rebel." The weapon is called Perakarususu no Maken in Japanese, Maken meaning magical or cursed sword. I wonder if it's a reference to the horror manga or its PC-98 game of the same name. Examine the body nearby, and in Japanese it feels a little more somber, reading, "The corpse of a Special Forces member lies quietly." And the one inside reads, "The corpse of a US Special Forces member. He appears to have died during a fierce battle." Now it's time for Jill's fierce battle to once and for all put a stop to the pursuer. And when the Nemesis is finally weakened, we're treated to one of the greatest moments in gaming history.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
But in Japanese, it's
あんたみたいな化け物は消えてなくなればいい。
monsters like you should disappear. According to personal interviews with head scenario writer Kawamura Yasuhisa, the line was intended to be something like, "The world would be a better place if monsters like you disappeared." But it ended up getting shortened. You might be wondering how the stars line appeared in the 2020 remake in Japanese. As you probably know, it was moved from the final battle.
Come on, you creepy ass stalker. You want stars? I'll give you stars.
It's like, time to say farewell to Raccoon City, and if you escape with Carlos piloting the helicopter,
I guess we're all set.
All right then, we're out of here.
Oh no.
It's here. It's time to go.
That's it. I've had it. This time they've gone too far.
Just a moment.
If Barry flies the helicopter,
Thanks. You saved us.
I couldn't let you die.
Is it you?
Are you ready to finish this?
It's coming.
Yeah. It's the end.
That's it. Umbrella's going down.
And now we have a rather unfortunate turn of events. It seems that the President and the Federal Council have passed judgment over the civilians of Raccoon City. The President and Federal Council have ruled that the Bacillus Terminate operation is the best course of action for this extreme situation, and have since executed. Based on that fact, Raccoon City has been literally wiped off the map. Current reports have the death toll surpassing the 100,000 mark. Our hearts go out to those poor civilians of Raccoon City.
and with that, we're finally finished. Oh, the diary. Collect all the files in order and you'll unlock Jill's diary. The wounds on her body have disappeared, along with the awkward considerations of those around her. In Japanese, it was only a few drops of coffee, and Chris didn't just punch Elron, but he punched him out, or laid him flat. And I'm not even going to say it, you leave your best boulder jokes in the comments. But wait, there's more. We have epilogues. After finding Chris's empty hideout, Jill finds his knife in the floor, giving off a dull light like a guidepost. Jill leaves without hesitation. There's nothing about putting an end to Umbrella. For Chris, there are a few additional details in Japanese. When Chris takes off his sunglasses, he squints in the warm sunlight of the cafe as a young woman walks lightly by. And instead of learning Claire was looking for him but got caught, he learns Claire has thrown herself into the fight, chasing his whereabouts, nothing about her being captured. Barry's epilogue is a little more descriptive. Barry crouched down in front of his young daughters and slowly shook his head. Sorry, my comrades are waiting. Once, for the sake of his family, he tried to betray them. When his friends forgave him, he resolved to repay their trust, even if it meant separating from his family. We'll be okay, dear. His wife wore a smile like a flower and stretched her arms as best she could to kiss her husband. Leon's has quite a few changes. Leon Scott Kennedy is confronted by a man who claims to be a US government intelligence agent. Are you gonna kill me? The man's lips distort into the loose shape of a smile. Leave Sherry alone. She is innocent. Yes, but she knows too much. The man raised his gaze directly to Leon's face. I'll be blunt. We highly value your abilities. It's not a bad deal. If you want to settle things peacefully, you have only one choice. In the English version of Claire's epilogue, Leon has a harsher tone. Rather than saying, leave us alone, like in English, he says, leave Sherry and I behind, like, go on without us. Claire Redfield couldn't believe Leon's words. Leon, why? You're looking for your brother, right? And he doesn't tell her, just go, which can come off as angry. The rest of the epilogue is pretty much the same. Do you have any relatives? Even though the military officer asked as gently as possible, Sherry did not respond. The young girl had no immediate family. They met a tragic end at the hands of the G-virus they themselves had developed for military use. She held herself with both arms and bit her small lip. Surely she'll come back. For the lonely Sherry, the only connection she had left with another person was the red leather jacket Claire had left behind. Ada's epilogue is similar but adds further details. A woman looks at herself in the mirror. She used to be called Ada Wong, but this morning she will say goodbye to that name. The next job is a few hours away. I'm not Ada Wong anymore. There was a fresh wound on her side. It was a wound she received protecting the man she loved when she was Ada. This is Ada's scar, not mine. The morning she says goodbye to Ada Wong, she couldn't stop the tears flowing. Again, only you, Grim Reaper, the helicopter pilot said bitterly when he sees the only soldier retrieved was Hunk. Always, only you survive, no matter how hellish the battlefield. Without responding to the pilot, he took out the capsule he recovered and played with it in his palm. Hell is the domain of the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper never dies. The survivor smiled faintly. If you're still here, thank you for sticking with me. The point of this video wasn't to say one version is better, but to see how they differ, what they added, and offer a new way to appreciate this classic. What stands out to me is how sarcastic Carlos is in Japanese, and just how many small changes were made. But I gotta say, hats off to the localization team for creating so many cool and memorable moments that I still carry with me. Big thanks to Novel, who's been a longtime Patreon supporter, and to Marie and BlueHerb98, who's on YouTube as well. Also thanks to Danny from the Famicast. We'll be going to Tokyo Game Show soon, so you can check it out there. And also to Fergadurg, a fellow connoisseur of vintage guidebooks. I look forward to seeing what he'll make.